Hi, my name is Brian. I'm from St. Louis. If you're coming to this video through Hoopty's Garage, this won't be a normal car repair video. I do have about probably 40 or 50 videos on my hard drive that I have to edit and upload still. So there'll still be plenty of car videos coming up behind this video. And I've already posted a few of them since I stopped working. But the Hoopty's Garage video channel will still be active, and I will continue that once I get back to work. This video is more about what I've been going through with my health and what happened to me. And I stuck it on this channel because it's the channel I can get the most reach at. But the car repair videos will be coming after this one. So, and I still have some I need to edit, upload from when I was healthy. So, uh, anyway, this is about a health struggle, and I probably got to break this video up in probably 2 or 3 videos because it's going to be too long. I mean, you could do it in one video, but I really want to get this out there and connect with people that maybe have this problem. So there's 3 reasons why I'm making this video, and the ones that are going to come behind it that are about my health. And the number 2 reasons are pretty much equal. The first reason would be because I want to connect with other people that maybe have this issue, and we can maybe compare notes and diagnosis or lack thereof, and what you've done to help yourself. And then the second reason would be the witness of my faith. Obviously, not everybody knows, but Jesus is the center of my life, and I had a lot of growth through this, and maybe not so much growth, but revelation, and I learned a lot of things through all this experience, and God spoke to me several times throughout this, and if that's not really your thing, then I'm sorry, but well, I'm not really sorry, but that will be in this next video, probably a lot more than this video. And then the third reason is I just want to document everything. So basically, I like to connect with other people so that we can kind of compare notes and see what your doctors have done versus mine, and what has helped and not helped. And like I said, the witness of my faith and all that. So um, this video is going to be basically how this all started. And this all started, I guess, in December of 2021. I'd managed to get through a couple of years without COVID, and then my son caught it at work, and then he brought it home while he was still living with us. And about 3 days later, I got it, and we both had separate symptoms. His went to his lungs more. I didn't really have any lung issues with it or any kind of respiratory issues with it. My main thing starting out with it was my body was super, super sore. I had a fever and a headache, and that was basically it. And then I didn't realize at the time, but I didn't have smell or taste. But I didn't realize that until 4 or 5 days later. So the first 3 days, all I did was basically sleep. I did have to pick my daughter from school, I think, on the second day. And I got there about 10 minutes early, and I was sitting in actually my dad's truck waiting for her to come out, and I was almost in tears because I just wanted to go back home and go to sleep. My body was so sore, just sitting in the truck waiting for her. My entire body was just like, I don't know, best way to describe it is just super, super sore. So uh, I spent 3 days in bed and basically slept probably 20 hours a day. I'm not even kidding. Didn't really eat anything. The only thing that I even could taste or that tasted good to me, I didn't realize I couldn't taste anything. Like an ice cold soda would taste good. I didn't really drink soda. Still don't really drink it. I didn't drink it that much back then, but I was desperate to find something that tasted good, and I tried some ice cold soda that tasted good. So uh, the third day, I guess Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I was in bed, and then by that Saturday, the fever broke, and my body felt a lot better, and I pretty much thought I was through the worst part of it. I ended up getting up and moving around and ate something like an actual meal for the first time. And I didn't realize it. I actually ate steak and broccoli and stuff. I didn't realize at the time, but I couldn't taste it. I just felt this is really bland. I thought this steak isn't that good. And it took me another day to realize like I can't taste anything. Everything's bland to me. So um, And then I think the dog farted or something. My wife was freaking out, like, "You can't smell that." I said, "No, I can't smell." And then I realized I couldn't smell anything either. So it took me all the way until Sunday to realize I didn't have smell or taste. But the other thing that was kind of on the back burner, but was there, was I would get up out of bed or wherever, and I'd be kind of dizzy when I first got up, and my legs were kind of uncoordinated until I got going a little bit. And if I was, especially like in the shower or something, if I would close my eyes and I was standing up, I would almost fall instantly, and really freaked me out. Like if you got soap in your eyes or something, you go to get it out, and then you're almost like, whoa, and I would almost fall. So that all started after the third day, and then the other thing that started right away was I was severely fatigued. Like I'm an active person. I work full time and do a lot of things, and I had never felt this kind of fatigue where I'd wake up in the morning. Because even that next week, I started working a little bit, and by that Wednesday, I was probably working full time again. And it was so hard to get out of bed and get going. I just did not want to do anything, and that actually persisted all the way. So as time went on, I would say about third or fourth week, I noticed my legs were getting super, super heavy. It felt like concrete legs. The best way I can describe it is like someone took concrete and filled my legs with it. And I was super uncoordinated. Almost anything would trip me up. Like I'm a mechanic, so I work in a shop, and air hose on the ground or anything like that could make me almost fall. I didn't really fall. I'm a pretty coordinated person, but my legs were definitely uncoordinated and super heavy, and I had to be super careful. I mean, just anything on the ground could make me almost fall. So I had to be super careful. And then I had a really hard time getting up out of chairs and couches, and obviously being a mechanic, you got to get up and down on the car all the time, and it was super hard for me to get up and down from the car. And so anyway, that went on, and over time, I would say a few months, I realized it wasn't really going away, and the fatigue was really there. And that all started probably in January, and by that spring or summer, I was probably clinically depressed because I was just so drugged down by everything. Like I said, my job demands that I have strong legs, and I'm able to. I have to be strong, put transmissions in on the ground, remove engines, that kind of thing. So you have to be strong anyway. And because I work by myself, I don't have. I don't have people to help me. So if I'm putting a transmission in on the ground or something, I have to do it on my own. And some of those are pretty heavy. So it got to the point where, and then if I, just walking from the car to the workbench, if something's on the floor, sometimes I'd almost trip on it, just barely, just the littlest things. And it got to the point with the fatigue that I was just really starting to get down on life a little bit. And the thing is, my legs were the strongest part of my body probably before this happened. Been a cyclist pretty much my entire life. Grew up in South St. Louis, and that's when you're that age in the 80s, that's how you got around, was ride your bike. So I was into BMX bikes, really heavy, and just loved riding my bike, and graduated to 10 speeds, and we would go pretty far from our house, at least back then we thought. So bikes was my main mode of transportation, and it was mechanical, and I love anything mechanical. So I had a healthy love for bikes growing up, and I guess after I got married and everything, my last bike got stolen when I was about 17, and I went about 10 years before I got another bike. So, getting married and getting into cars and all that, I kind of put bikes in the back burner, like most of us do, and ended up getting another bike. I bought a brand new bike in my late 20s and started riding again, and I had kids, a couple kids, and would ride, recreationally for the next 10 years or so. I hit 40 or 41 or something like that, somewhere around there, and I got into it really heavy to the point where I was riding probably 2,000 to 4,000 miles a year, 5,000 miles some years, just a lot for especially St. Louis weather. It's not year round you're going to ride unless you're super, super hardcore. And so I was, by that point, in my 40s, I was early 40s. I had been riding, or started riding really heavy, and my legs were super strong, strongest part of my body probably by far. And to go from that to barely able to walk was kind of like, it was depressing. So um, that's what I was dealing with. And I would say every 4 to 6 months, I would get a little bit. I'd noticed I was getting a little bit better, a little bit, but it was really slow. And what I found that first year, especially that's late spring and early summer, I thought I'm gonna rehab my legs and just ride my bike like crazy, and I'll get my legs back by the middle of summer, and this will be over with. And what I found early on was the more I rode, the worse my legs got. Like, not really worse, but I got to the point where they would get so sore that I couldn't ride. Like, if I rode 2 days in a row, by that third day I was so sore I could barely operate. So I learned pretty quickly that I couldn't outwork this, and I just started doing research and realized that a lot of people with long COVID that have leg issues had the same experience, where they say you can't outwork the long COVID. The more you work it, the more fatigued you'll get, and I was still dealing with all that fatigue anyway. I was forcing myself out there, and I ride mostly in the city of St. Louis. I live right on the outskirts in the county in St. Louis, but I grew up and was born and raised in South St. Louis, so I know the city very well, and I'm very comfortable in there. And I have probably 20 or 30 routes that I ride in there that are anywhere from 10 miles to 50 miles. And I started out doing the little 10-mile routes, and they were kicking my butt. Like, the hills, I didn't have the strength and the power that I had, and it took me a while. Like, my legs would just feel like rubber. They go from concrete to rubber on the bike, and then after about 2 or 3 miles, they would kind of like get to normal. Not normal for me normally, but normal for what I was at. And I could put a little bit of power down. I could get up hills and stuff, but nowhere near like I was used to. And I know these routes. I know, what gear to be in the bike and what I can expect. And some of the stuff that I used to just fly up without even thinking about it, it was like taxing me pretty hard to those same hills. So I knew I was in bad shape. And so that first year I probably rode 500 or 600 miles, not much, because the more I tried, the harder it would get, and then my legs would get sore. And then I still got to work full time, so I can't just kill myself. I still got to save myself from my job and responsibilities. So that first year, like I said, I rode probably a quarter what I usually do, and just wasn't really getting better. Didn't feel like I was getting much better. And every 4 or 5 months, I would kind of notice things. But even like going to the grocery store, just going in there and doing some shopping and coming out, that would wipe me out. Like, if anything with walking would just wipe me out. Like, I could work all day in the shop and I would be tired, but I wouldn't be wiped out. Like, it was taxing, and the fatigue would get to me, but it just wouldn't, But if I would walk, Walmart or a grocery store, I mean, you're talking like I could barely get out to the car, and I was like ready to sit down and just fall out. And so that went on the first year. And then I guess that next winter, my wife suggested we started walking. And I was again thinking I'm going to, it's been almost a year, so I should be able to start riding my bike more. And I didn't mention this, the first year I had a hard time getting on and off the bike. Because my legs were so heavy, and I would use my bike rack on the back of my bike to help me get on and off, and I would never stop. Like, if I did like the 12-mile route that I was doing, I would never stop during that. And if you grow up in the city, you kind of know how to do that. You come up to a stop sign, you just make a right if some cars are there, and wait till it opens to a U-turn, make another right, and then you're back on track. So I would literally never stop pedaling when I was riding those rides the first year. And the one time I did try to stop, take a picture, when I was getting off the bike, I fell, and I was like, okay, I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm just going to never stop. And that's, it's kind of dangerous. If I had to stop, I could have, and I could have not fell. But getting on and off the bike, actually dismounting the bike, was very hard because my legs were so heavy. So, I mean, I rode that whole summer without ever stopping and fall and stuff. I would just somehow get back to the car, then hold on to the bike rack, and then get the bike out from under me. And So that's how that went. And then I started, my wife said, why don't you start walking? So I started dropping my daughter off at school. And there's a park next to her, not too far from her school, half mile or a mile. And there's a 1 mile loop in it. There's a bunch of different routes, but there's a 1 mile route, and it's paved, and it's pretty hilly. A lot of up and down hills and stuff. I started doing that, and it actually it sucked at first. I'm not gonna beat around the bush about that, but it actually helped me more than the bike did, walking that trail. I got up that year. I rode, I think, 800 miles or something, maybe a little less than that. I was riding the bike and walking. I was mainly walking because it seemed like it was helping me more. I don't think it was making my legs stronger per se, but it was helping my endurance, and it was helping my coordination, because I was dragging my left foot once in a while. My left leg was a little bit weaker than my right leg, which is also weird because I'm left-handed, but and it's my dominant leg usually. But it just, walking like that helped the mechanics of me walking again. You know, if relearning, I guess, or whatever you want to say. But by the time, I would say, by that summer or the end of the early fall, I was walking. I could walk 4 or 5 miles. We would go to Jefferson Barracks here in St. Louis. I'd walk that. I think there's one route that's like 4 miles. I could do that, really no problem. I don't really like walking. It's not something I super enjoy. That's the main reason why I like to ride the bike, because I'm moving quickly and seeing things, and just walking, to me, it just slows my brain down, which is probably a good thing overall, but I don't enjoy it. So I was doing that and riding the bike. So anyway, now we're into 24, and over time, I would say during the holidays in January, I kind of noticed that I was probably like 80% back from what I was. I was able to walk pretty far, and I rode some bike. I did like a 60-mile bike ride at one point that year, the previous year, or that year. But so I was getting my endurance back and my strength back, and I was probably 80% of what I was originally. One thing I noticed, I wasn't really tripping over anything anymore, nothing like that, but I didn't have side-to-side coordination. Like, if I was was going to try to do something where I had to go to the side real quick, I couldn't do the side-to-side, but it's forward and back, all that I could do. If that makes sense. But I guess sometime in March, I got COVID again of this year, and this time my body was sore, but my upper back was super, super sore. Like, it felt like someone took a cheese grater and just went over my skin with it, and even putting on a shirt or anything would hurt, and just having that touch my skin, it's like a real bad sunburn or something, or a wound. And I end up I didn't lose my taste or smell or anything, and I had it was kind of the same thing. I had about 2 or 3 days where I didn't feel like doing anything. I actually probably wasn't as bad as the first time, as far as like the fever or anything. I did have a real bad headache, and it would not go away no matter what I did. And I'll get into that in the next video, how that transpired. But right before I started, I got the COVID and kind of recovered. About a week, I started working again, same thing, and I even told my wife, I don't think it affected my legs this time. They still felt pretty good, and I was noticing a little bit of coordination issues right when I would wake up in the morning, but nothing like last time. And the legs weren't no more concrete than normal. Like I said, they were about 80% back, so they were still a little bit concrete, but not as bad. And actually, that Friday, before I started having a lot of trouble, I had worked 10 hours in the shop, and my wife and I went out to dinner, and I told her, I said, this is the best I felt since, even before, I said, this is really the best I felt in the last 2.5 years. And because even the fatigue and everything was starting to go away, I would say during the holidays, early January, I was still fatigued, but everything was getting better. And I told her, I said, this is the best I felt. And that Saturday I woke up and had a little bit of a hard time getting out of bed, and my lower back was sore. And even like my glutes and stuff were kind of sore. And I was having a little bit of coordination issue. My son saw me that Saturday and asked me about it. Like, I guess I was walking a little weird. I said, I don't know, something's weird going on. Had no idea what was ahead of me. But and then that Sunday we went to Costco and I saw my son again, and I was having a lot of trouble. I could barely get through Costco and back to my truck, and I was just like barely able to walk. But it was different than the first time. But I should have known something was up because it was that same feeling like I just can't keep going, like I'm fatigued. And when I was trying to walk, and I had a hard time walking, and that just got worse as the day went on. And then that Monday I woke up, which was April 22nd, and I could barely. It took me 5 minutes to get out of bed, which 5 minutes getting out of bed is a long time. And I mean, it literally did. I kept falling down back into bed and just struggled to get out of bed. And when I finally did get up, I could barely walk. I was like holding on to the dresser and the bedpost and walking down the hallway of the house. I was holding on to both sides of the hallway. I was like, what the hell's going on? And because even at my worst, the first time I had COVID, I was nothing like this. Like this was just like I didn't know how to walk anymore. Like I had no control of my legs at all. And like a dummy, I decided to work. I had a big job that day in the shop, decent money job, and I wanted to do it. And I had already, we had some scheduling problems with her and back and forth, and finally got it to where we could do it. And I said, well, I told her I was going to do it, and we've already had a couple of scheduling issues, and I want to get this job done. Plus, I didn't realize, obviously, didn't realize what kind of shape I was in. I thought this was going to go away like it did last time, or I'd have a couple hard days, and then so anyway, I took my daughter to work or school that morning. And I was fine going there, but coming back, my right leg wasn't moving back to the brake. Like I couldn't feel my right leg that well, and I was having a hard time braking. And like a dummy, I put that car in the shop, her car in the shop, the customer's car in the shop, started working on it, went to lunch, and by the time I almost hit the cars in front of me in the drive-through at Steak and Shake and was almost wrecking at every stop sign coming back, I couldn't get my right leg to go back to the brake, and my left leg wasn't much help either. And I texted my wife when I got back home. I said, I'm not going to be able to drive for a while until this goes away. I just can't stop. I'm almost wrecking my car. I was real lucky to get home, and I was really relieved to get home and not wreck. So I decided at that point I'm not going to drive anymore. Somebody's going to pick up my daughter, but I decided like a dummy to go back in the shop and start working on that car again. And at some point I went over to look at the laptop to look up some kind of service info for the car, and I turned around and I just dropped down like a bag of rocks and just smashed my knee into the tool tray. Thank God that I had just within probably 2 or 3 weeks I just started wearing knee pads, and while I was in the shop because it was starting to be short weather. And I didn't want to get, when you're up and down in the car, you get your legs dirty from the shop floor. And this year, first year ever in all my life that I decided to wear knee pads. And thank God I was, because I would be looking at getting a whole new knee probably. It felt like my knee got pushed out of my legs. Thank God I was wearing that, because I literally thought that my kneecap came out of my leg. That's how hard I hit, how bad it hurt. And I ended up fracturing my tibia, I guess, on my right side, and my knee hit on the left side. So I'm on my basically on my hands and knees, and I'm trying to get up, and I can't get up. I'm trying to use the shop fan and the car and all this stuff to try to get up. I could not pull myself up. There was so much pain every time I would lift either leg to get up. Just pain would shoot through. So I ended up crawling out of the garage to some stairs and crawled up the stairs and kind of sat down for a little bit and I thought for sure I was going to pull that knee pad off and it was just going to be a bloody hamburger mess. But thank God these cheap Harbor Freight knee pads saved my knee. There was not a scratch on it, no blood, and within a half hour it felt fine. And I used the trash cans next to me in the garage and ended up going back in the garage, started working on that car again like a dumbass, and my tibia was fractured. And I didn't know that, but I knew something was wrong with it. I was just hoping it was sprained. My wife saw me crawling across the floor on the camera and left work early, unbeknownst to me. And she came home and said, "You're going to the emergency room?" I said, "No, I'm not." We argued for about 10 or 15 minutes, and I finally knew that I had to go. I knew something was wrong, and I knew, at some point you just have to admit to yourself you got to have help. So I reluctantly went, and I thought I'm going to go there. They're going to tell me my right side is sprained, and that I got some kind of figured they do a few tests. I get some kind of antibiotics or steroids, and I'd be on my way for the walking problem. Still had no clue what was ahead of me, and that was Monday, April 22nd, and this is October 2nd. So this is 5 months ago, almost 5 months ago, and um, they ended up admitting me to the hospital. I was kind of reluctant to do that. He said, your fracture's not bad. That'll heal on its own as long as you keep it stabilized and wear this boot. And but we went, so don't you, I was trying to fight. He wanted to admit me. I did not want to get admitted. So I was kind of trying to fight the doctor with that. And he said, don't you want to know what's wrong with your leg? You're just going to go around not being able to walk. And I finally just said, screw it, let's do it. They admitted me, and they ran some tests that night. They checked out my heart and everything. My heart was fine. Did a bunch of other tests. And then by April 23rd, that Tuesday, I was not able to stand or walk or even move my legs. So I was basically, for all intents and purposes, paralyzed from the waist down. The only good thing is, if you can say it's a good thing, is I still have my bathroom function, so I didn't need any help with that, thank God. But I could not move my legs at all. I couldn't even move my feet or my ankles or nothing. I could feel, like, if someone touched my leg, I could feel that. They were kind of like, they felt kind of like they were numb or asleep almost sometimes. It just depended on, how I was laying or whatever. But I guess the general thing would be like a numb, sleeping feeling is how they felt. I could feel them if someone pinched me or I pinched myself. I could feel them, but I could not. I mean, I am not exaggerating. I could not move my foot. If this is my foot, I couldn't even move it this much. Like, that's it. And then, like, trying to stand, they tried to stand me up, and they had 2 or 3 people trying to stand me up, and I had no strength to stand up. Like, I couldn't. And I didn't understand at all, because I was perfectly, that Friday I was strong and doing a lot better. And then by that Tuesday, I can't even stand. Like, I don't even have I couldn't, if someone left me there, I would probably die, because I wouldn't be able to go get food or do anything. Like, I'm saying, like, I was completely helpless at this point. So that was the Tuesday, and they ran a whole bunch of tests and all that. And, I think that's where I'm going to end it. They did say something about cancer at some point, and I've lost all my grandparents to cancer, and I've lost other people, and I've had people close to me have cancer, and no, I'm not a cancer expert, but I was pretty sure I didn't have cancer, because I've never seen anyone get better with cancer, and I got better, and I knew it was from COVID, and I was recovering from it before I got COVID again, and then knocked me down again. So I don't think, they have a hard time admitting, or the problem is I don't have an official diagnosis. Like I said, this is October 2nd, and I still don't have official diagnosis on what this is. They know the issue. They know the issue possibly, but they don't know what caused it or even what it is, because they can't biopsy anything. And I went through PET scan, over 20 MRIs up to this date. I've had test after test after test. Spinal tap, they did, like, I don't remember, I think 20 or 24 tests on my spinal fluid, and it doesn't come back as anything that they've ever seen. I've had 2 neurologists tell me that they've never seen anything like this. So again, that's another main reason why I want to make this video, is hopefully there's somebody out there watching it that's had the same issue, and we can kind of compare notes and see what's helped and not helped, and diagnosis and all that. And I went from thinking I was going to be there, I thought I was going to be there maybe a couple days at the most. I mean, I was still under the impression that I was going to get they were going to find something, I guess some antibiotics or steroids, and be on my way. And I ended up being there, I think, 35 or 36 days between the hospital and acute rehab. I ended up having to go to acute rehab. And so, yeah, that's where I was at for all of April, or the end of April and all of May. Um, so, and there's been a lot of growth through this, but there's also been, it's a hard thing to go through when you lose your leg. You're independent, healthy male that everyone else has relied on you for everything, and then all of a sudden that's all taken from you in an instant. I mean, it seemed like I said, it took me a long time just to even come to terms with all this. So that's why I'm making these videos. Hopefully, someone out there has had the same experience. I don't hope that for you, but maybe we can kind of compare notes and maybe get to the bottom of some of this, at least for me anyway, because I don't have any answers at all. I know I'm getting better, and I know the treatments I'm doing I don't know if they're helping me or not. The doctors think it is. So I don't know if it's just natural healing or whatever it is. I know that, not to sound conceited, but I work my ass off in rehab, and I rehab on my own almost every day. So determination, I'm determined to get back to 100%. But and I know, like I said, I know it was caused by COVID, but I don't have an actual diagnosis. So I'm just interested if anyone else has been through this. My doctor said I could be one of only 2 or 3 people in the whole world that's had this happen to them. I don't necessarily believe that, because I know that people have had leg issues with COVID, and maybe not to this extreme, but they have had leg issues. So, because I did a lot of research the first time I had it and found a lot of articles about that. So anyway, I'm gonna go over the hospital stay and the acute rehab stay on the next video. Hopefully, I might have to split those two up. I'm not sure, because a lot of things happened in both places that were a big impact on how this plays out. But I'm gonna try to keep these around 30 minutes or so. So anyway, the next video will be more about what they did, all the tests they did, and what I went through, and a little, about my faith and where I'm at, and then we'll go from there. So. And then, like I said, if you're here from Hoopties this long, there will be more. I am recovering from this, so I plan on being back to work at some point. I don't know when. I get a little bit closer every month, but I feel at least a decent amount away from working full time or even working at all. So the videos will come back for the repair and the newer ones, and I'll be doing other things with it. But for now, we'll have to just upload some of the older stuff that I haven't uploaded yet, and do that until we get back to work. So anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll put out that next one. It should be coming out 2 or 3 days from now, so hopefully we'll keep them going until I get them complete and then connect with people. So thanks for watching. As always, God bless.